Radio check. Okay, it looks like we are 5 by 5. Pardon me while I double check something else real quick. Yep, that seems to be working. Okay, cool. So it appears that OBS didn't save my microphone as the input device, but we got it going now. Anyway, hello, and welcome back to the stream. So, you know, life has been crazy lately. I am a flight instructor. I am also a line tech, and things have been kind of changing lately. So what exactly happened? Well, summertime came, and flying was actually happening, which is really cool. But so was the line job. We have a lot of cargo that we deal with. It was a lot of hours between flying and line service altogether for months straight. And today, I actually had a full day of flying lined up. However, as you can see, there is a bunch of smoke in the area that is stopping us from flying today. So I have nothing going on, and I figured now would be a perfect time to get back into it and stream a nice classic flight for you. Now, I know this is the route that I've done probably a billion times over, and I wasn't going to do it until two things. Number one, the smoke. I was very curious on how the simulator, projected that smoke and haze and all that stuff into the sim, and it actually, I'm kind of impressed with how smoke looks in here. It has like the visibility decrease, but also the coloring, and the sun is like kind of shining through, so pretty realistic. I'm gonna give it like a solid 8 out of 10 on the visual. So yeah, we want to fly through some smoke, and this classic route has smoke pretty much the entire way. Number two, Sun Country has announced that it is merging with Allegiant, which is honestly extraordinarily heartbreaking to me. I was really gunning to be a Sun Country pilot, and now that Allegiant took over, my plans had to make quite an alteration. So, we're flying as Sun Country to pay tribute to what was a really phenomenal airline from the start, and now it's gonna be Allegiant, so run it while we can. Anyway, pardon me just one more second while I fix something here. I have to re-sign into my YouTube chat for some reason. So just bear with me for a second while I do that. Okay, I'll do it again. There it is. All right, my chat, excuse me, is back up and running. Cool. So yeah, like I said, we're doing our classic route today that I've done a million times over, but only because of the smoke. I'm very curious how it looked in Flight Sim 2024. Anytime I've flown in smoke, it was in 2020, and 2020 did actually a decent job as well. But this one with the lighting is just a little more realistic. The way the sun is like kind of poking through. Very, very interesting indeed. So let's go ahead and get back into it. And as I turn on my camera here, you will see another update that I have for you guys. Excuse me while I figure out how to turn that back on. what do you know? There it is. I am now in my own apartment. I moved. Life changed pretty rapidly, and I figured something out financially, and now I'm living in my own space, which is something I haven't been able to do in some years. So I'm very excited for that, and it looks so nice. It's a very nice place. It's pretty big for a one bed, and I'm having a good time with it. Alright, so now let's get back to the meat and bones, the flight simulator here. So we have our ground power, which we're going to turn on. And now all of our power is aligned. Cool. One thing I did forget to do was set all of the payload stuff. Me trying to get back into the flow of this is, you guys might laugh watching me. So I gotta set the block fuel. Payload, looking at here, 185 passengers. Which is pretty a lot for this particular flight, but it works. So 0 fuel weight matches now. We look good there. Alright, making sure the door's open and ground services all look good. Sweet. So now the aircraft is configured properly weight-wise and everything like that. So the first thing we're going to do is our power's on. We're going to check ground power here. Oh, turn the battery on. Something I've never done before here. There we go. Now we're getting some numbers. Ground power, the amps. We get the DC volts of 24, which is good. We're not getting any amps because there's no generation going on. Emergency lights can be armed. And we'll turn on the nav. The IRS is to nav, see how long it takes to align, if I could speak. Oh, and I keep forgetting that in 2024 this plane is on instant, which is wild because I don't remember. I can't find the setting to make the IRS alignment realistic, so we're just going to deal with it for now. Alright, so coming up and down, right to left to right, I'm definitely very rusty at this. It's been months. So flight controls, all of the switches are closed and guarded. They're on and guarded, more specifically. Alternate flaps closed and guarded. Cool. The yaw damper, since the IRS is aligned, I guess we'll just turn it on now. Yep, that's on. Navigation switches are all in normal. That's good. Displays, sources auto, control panels normal. Good. Fuel pumps can stay off for now. Until we turn on the APU. Ground power, we're getting 24 volts. It looks good. No discharge, that's more important. Is no discharge. Cool. So the AC is both. The switches are on, batteries on. Standby power, the disconnect switches are closed and guarded. That's good. Standby power is on auto and guarded as well. Electronic source looks good here. EGT we'll look at when we turn on the APU. Circuit breakers, we're not looking at any lights. We're flying during the daytime. We should be able to see everything just fine. Equipment cooling is both in the normal position. Lights are off here. Emergency lights are armed. Fasten seat belts. We'll turn those on as passengers are boarding. Checking the chime switch here. Good. Flight attendant button. We hear noises. And the ground call looks good there. What was the one thing I was looking at? Okay, we're fine. Nothing. So we'll come back up here. So the window heats can all come on. Looking for green lights to illuminate. Boom, like so. The probe heats can stay off for now. Anti-ice we don't need right now. Hydraulic pumps are off, which is good for now as well. Test the cockpit voice recorder. Hold it for 5 seconds. Boom. Illuminates green. Excellent. Pressurization is on 0 because we're on the ground, so that's good. Voice recorder, auto. Duct temp. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and... It's probably pretty warm in Minneapolis, isn't it? Let's check the weather, shall we? Ooh, yeah, 30 degrees. It's pretty warm in there. 80 degrees, a little less than comfortable. So what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and start the APU now. Forward left fuel pump. We'll start the APU so we can get some air actually flowing into the cabin. So the engine bleeds will come off. EGT on the APU is starting up. Okay, maxed out there. That's good. Didn't have a hot start or anything. It's coming back down. And we're waiting for the APU generator to come on. Alright, so we'll do that. So the ground power, APU bleed can come on, and the packs will turn to auto for now, so we can get some more comfortable temperatures going in the cabin for the passengers. Cool. So since the ground power we don't need anymore, let's go ahead and request that to be released. Disconnecting. I wonder if it gets pulled away or something. Yeah, it's just sitting there. Okay, cool. So it looks like it's disconnecting and it's gone. Alright, cool. So anyway, back to the panel here. So the ISOL valve is open, that's fine. Packs are on auto, so we're getting air to the passengers. Engine bleeds are off, APU bleed is on, that's good. Today we're flying to a cruise altitude of 37,000 feet, flight level 370. Alright, like there, and our landing altitude at Buffalo is 727, so we'll just put that at 750. And I don't really like the way that the numbers are kind of fading into each other. I'm kind of tired of having to do this. Yeah, that's wise, because this is... Every time the sim updates, it changes my settings back to DLSS, and that just doesn't really work very nicely on my PC. There we go, now we're looking a little better here. Cool, so the cabin pressurization, manual mode is off. We don't have to worry about that. It's on auto. Excellent. Logo's on. Nav lights are on, so the ground crew knows we're powered up. Sweet. And we're coming up here. We're testing the flap lights. Those look good. Excellent. IRSs are aligned. They're just waiting for me to plug in a position into the FMC. We don't need the interphone. Dome light we don't need. This panel, audio panel, looks good. The reverser lights are extinguished. Engine control unit lights are also extinguished. EECs are on. Good. Crew oxygen above 15. Passenger oxygen normal and guarded. Light extinguished. 3 greens for the landing gear. And let's go ahead and test the Mach airspeed. Okay. I heard something. We'll wait for that to build up some more pressure, but the flight recorder is normal and guarded. Sweet. So we'll come down to the lower pedestal here, and we will give ATIS a listen here, and I have a scratch pad just for that. Alright. So let's give ATIS a listen so we know what weather we're expecting here. And the ATIS, so the departure control is online for Minneapolis. So 120.8 is ATIS. see if we can give that a listen. Potentially. Oh, that's why. Because... There we go.
Minneapolis Airport Information Oscar 1700 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 2. Sky condition. Ceiling 2700 Vulcan. Temperature 30. Dew point 21. Altimeter 3007. ILS runway 30 left.
Pushback or taxi. Caution. Bird near Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. Read back hold short instructions and assigned altitude. All aircraft taxi with transponder and altitude encoding on. Advise on initial contact. You have information whiskey. Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport departure information whiskey 1653 Zulu. Wind variable at 3. Visibility 1 and 1/2. Smoke. 0 broken. Ceiling 2200 overcast. Temperature 30. Dew point 21. Altimeter 3007. Departing runway 12 left. Runway 12 right. Runway 17. Notices to air missions taxiway Alpha between B and the season closed. Taxiways Romeo 789 or 10 and are closed. All aircraft contact ATC when ready to push back or taxi. Caution. Bird near Minneapolis.
Alright, so now we're on Minneapolis
Question
approach.
start.
We
Is
have
approved.
our information
Expect
recorded.
runway 12 right.
Alright, so
Push start approved. Expect runway 12 right. Delta 4225 heavy.
something I didn't realize was that OBS updated, and a lot of my inputs and my outputs and stuff seem to have been changed. So I had to, in the middle of recording ATIS, fix the whole thing so you guys can hear the ATC. Hard to explain, but you know. And that's what I get for not streaming for this long. Anyway, we're going to run up and down the panel like normal. So now we're on Minneapolis departure, which is good. We have our PDC. Actually, we have a PDC. We got it as soon as I signed in, so we'll just take a look at that for our clearance. Cool, we'll test the cargo fire. That looks good. All the weather radar stuff is exactly where I want it to be. Cool. Squawk code. Let's go ahead and look at our PDC. And our squawk code is 3626. So we'll plug that in. And then we'll turn on TARA just to have it ready. And the transponder matches on my radio stack, which is good. Because I know on the CRJ, for some reason, this radio stack doesn't communicate with the plane in-game for a lot of stuff. So especially the squawk code. But I checked it, it's all good. Sweet, ATC 1, so we are mode C now, as confirmed by vPilot. All the trims are looking good. Excellent, let's come back up here. And now we'll test the fault and up. And the fire test. Okay, we got the lights and bells. Extinguisher lights. Sweet. Everything looks good there. And lastly, the autopilot panel will set per the PDC. And we're expecting to maintain 7,000, so we'll drop that. 7,000, cool. I'd just like to set this to 180, although we're probably going to just throw it in VNAV mode. There we go. Heading, so the winds today are variable at 3. Taking a look at some of the other people, it looks like they're taking off the 1-2s. Oh, you know what? It told me to expect 1-2 right. What am I doing here? So we're expected to depart on 1-2 right. So we'll just do 120 on the heading. Good. And we'll check all the lights across here. So that light's fine. It's just telling us we got to enter our position, which we'll do in a second here. Okay, both lights work on that side. 1 and 2. Sweet. N1 set auto, speed ref auto, good. Engine system, so the bottom screen's changed here, that's good. We like to see it. And then brakes, auto brakes are auto, flaps are up, sweet, 3 greens, landing gear lever down. Alright, now we can actually look at the FMC and plug in our information. So the model is the 737-800, that's good. Engine rating 26K, that's fine. AirAC 2607, that is the current one, so that's good. Let me verify that that's actually correct. Yep, 2607 is current. Just wanted to verify that. Cool. And then the position or active July 9th, August 6th. Oh yeah, that actually shows you the dates. Yeah, I'm got a lot to catch up on. So KMSP is our reference airport, but we're going to go to the next page and we're going to bring our GPS left position, previous page, set it as the IRS, and boom, our position is set. Now for route, MSP is our origin. We are going to Buffalo, KBUF, and flight number, we are Sun Country 1057. They did in fact keep the flight number for this route, so I'm keeping it as well. Sweet, so we got the route, everything looks good there, excellent. Let's go to departure. We filed the Wellstone 7, so per our clearance we were given the Wellstone 7 departure, Green Bay transition, so let's do that. So we got Wellstone 7, Green Bay transition, and we are expecting runway 12 right. We're going to go to route, activate, execute, and then next page. So after the Wellstone departure, we can go to Tango Victor Charlie, direct, and then it's Wozy, and that's it. Our flight plan is not a lot to type in this time. And then per the winds, let's see what we can expect at Buffalo for now. 240 at 8, so we can expect runway 23, so let's execute that. And then we'll just do the ILS 23 beginning at Trava.
Delta 42,
and we'll do the procedure turn, and then we'll get rid of any discontinuities.
Delta 4225, runway 12 right, taxi via Bravo, Charlie Alpha, cross runway 22 at Alpha.
Runway 12 right, via Bravo, Charlie and Alpha, and cross runway
Alright, looks
22
good to
at
me.
Alpha.
Sweet.
Delta 4225 heavy.
So now we'll go back to our route, and we'll do the perfinite. So our 0 fuel weight per the flight plan is, oh yeah, I forgot you guys can actually look at that. Cool, so we got that, and now we can actually look at the OFP. Oop. I forget that this is kind of a pain. Alright, so we'll scroll down here. Nope, I scrolled way too much. It's hard to find exactly what we need to look at. Okay, here's our performance numbers right here. Awesome. So our 0 fuel weight, we're looking at 138.3. 138.3. Cool. So for reserves, it wants us to do 49.22, so we'll do 4.9. Cost index today, we're looking at 38, so we'll throw that in. I keep hitting the wrong button for the camera. 38. Cruise altitude today is going to be flight level 370. Alright, cruise wind.
Delta 2175, Minneapolis departure, pushing the start on Quebec.
Looking at 300 at 41. It's top of climb winds, but I use that. Alright, so we'll execute that profile, and then the planned fuel we can leave because we're not adding fuel from our sitting position. I already did the fuel ahead of time. Now we can calculate our takeoff performance. So we're taking off runway 12 right, and we'll import the weight and everything from the aircraft and import the weather. Yep, variability 3, temperatures 30, good. Calculate, alright, awesome. So we'll plug in this information right here. So the first thing is the select temp, which is 34. So we'll go down here, we'll put 34 in the top left corner for select temp. And then it wants us to do a takeoff 1 D rate, so a 24K D rate, so we'll put that active. And then we'll verify We're looking at 94.8 on the N1. It's saying 95.6. That's fine for now. Let's go ahead and go back here. And we're doing a flaps 5 departure. So flaps 5. And then we're plugging in... Oops. So we did flaps 5, and we're plugging in our CG trim, and it's telling us that our trim should be 5.01, which you'll see here. I'm pretty sure this is new for PMDG, part of an update, which is cool, so the trim matches. So let's go ahead and set 5.01 in our trim wheel. Just like so. Cool. Alright, and now our V-speeds are looking 145, 146, and 151, which they do actually match on the FMC, so those numbers are alike, which is excellent. Then we'll go to next page. Oh, you know what, I should have... It's going to delete my speeds because I didn't do this first. That's fine. Winds are variable at 3, so I wonder... I'm actually curious if we can put that. No, we can't. Okay. So, since they're variable at 3, we're just going to leave it blank. And the runway slope is -0.19. Okay. Takeoff speeds deleted. Yep, I knew they were there. Okay, so the V speeds changed a little bit, but nothing too out of the ordinary here. Our N1 percentage is still going to be a little bit off, but I think that'll change itself later on, so we're good there. Go back to the legs page. So the FMC looks a-okay. We got our flight plan in there, looking good. We're going to check our profile here. So our climb profile, we're supposed to climb at about 300 knots. That's our target speed. Mach 0.87, or I'm sorry, Mach 0.787. When we reach there, so that's good. Our speed restriction 250 at 1000, good. Go to our cruise page. We're cruising at Mach 0.787, which makes sense. That's a good cruise speed per the cost index. And target speed 0.787 and 282 knots, and then speed restriction 240 at 10,000 because this plane is really slick and it doesn't really like to slow down. So if you set that speed less, it'll be more inclined to do what you want it to do. All right, cool. So I'm just going to go back to the takeoff page here, and
Delta 4225, wind variable.
I'm sure the N1 will change. We're looking good there. Alright, cool.
Runway 12 right, clear for takeoff.
So everything
Left,
is...
heading 190 and clear for takeoff. Delta 4225 heavy.
That was extremely loud. Okay, so we're looking good there. Alright, let's go ahead and get this plane ready for pushback, shall we? It's about time. Alright, so this all looks fine. We'll go ahead and turn all the fuel pumps on. I'm going to verify that there's nothing in the center tank, which there's not, so the center tank pumps don't need to be on. APU gen, I should have checked that as soon as I turned the
Delta
power on, but
we could just confirm that
you make
heading,
mistakes.
I'm turning left to.
And then
Delta 4225 heavy, turn left heading 0.
I'm going to turn that down for you guys. It looks like it's the same volume as me talking. And the kids loud too. So APU gen, we're getting positive amperage. That's good. We're charging the plane. Everything looks fine. Probe heats can stay off. We'll go ahead and turn on the hydraulic pumps now. The electric pumps, we get 2 extinguished lights. And we'll look at the brake pressure right here, which you can't really see, I guess. So looking here. It's starting to build very slowly, but it's building, which is good. We'll double check that in a second. Alright, the packs are going to go off before engines start, but we'll leave them on for now since we're not quite ready to push back yet. Anti-collision light will go on once we're ready to push, and I just want to... that doesn't sound right, but I think it's a sim issue, because that should have been working by now. Alright, brake pressure, yep, we're looking good now, sweet. We're just going to get rid of the master caution for now, and I do believe we are ready for pushback. Alright, so let's see what ATC wanted us. They wanted us to contact them for push, so we're going to contact them before we push. Oh, do we have a pushback tool? No. Okay. Oh, you know what? You keep forgetting that the PMDG doesn't start with the parking brake on. You gotta actually turn it on yourself. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna call them and we're ready to push, and I think we're looking about ready to go. I'm getting excited. Alright. Just double checking everything. Alright, sweet. Minneapolis departure. Good afternoon. Sun Country 1057, Gate Hotel 8. Requesting push and start.
Sun Country 1057, Minneapolis departure, push and start is approved, expect 12 right.
Alright, push and start approved. Expect 12 right, Sun Country 1057. Alright, cool. So now we can turn on the anti-collision light.
4225 is heavy.
And we'll get the jetway relinquished here.
3000 feet, Delta 4225 heavy.
Delta 4225 heavy, climb and maintain 17,000, turn left direct 9.
Up to 17,000
Alright,
feet,
and
left direct 9, Delta 4225 heavy.
it doesn't automatically close the door, so I'm going to do that myself. For some reason I thought that the door did close itself, but that's fine. Alright, cool. So all our doors are shut, we're good there. We'll pull out the chart for the airport diagram here. Departure, airport, airport info. And we're getting 12 right, so we should get like a Delta Whiskey taxi route, but we'll see. Alright. Come forward here. And, oh, you know what we can do, that I forgot about, is the wheel chocks. Don't want to forget that. Remove chocks. Looks good. And there we go. Alright, cool. Chocks are removed, and let's go ahead and get a pushback. Now, one thing that I seem to forgot to do was set up a bunch of my views. So in the limited time I had, I set up 2 wing views, and that's about it. But for how I'm doing, that's not too bad. For how long it's been, I should say. Right up. Oh, you know what? I'm stupid. I forgot to turn off the parking brake. There we go. I was expecting it to push, and yeah, that's why you do checklists. Alright, so we'll give it a second, and we'll check behind us here. Make sure we're clear. Alright, we look pretty good. So, real quick, I'm going to try and do this quickly because I'm going to want to stop it before it runs us into something. So, the 2 packs are coming off. The duct pressure is going to release. The right ignition switch is going to go to ground. We're going to look for an increase in duct pressure, which we got. And we're looking for a start valve to be open, which it is. Love it. And I don't think it's going to turn me on Delta, which is fine. And we got an increase in N2, and N2 is 25%. Introduce fuel.
Delta 2175, go ahead.
And I don't think it's going to turn us. Oh, it is. Oh, what do you know? Alright, I'll leave it for now.
You just completely cut out.
N1, N2's looks good. Negative hard start, we're looking good.
Wind is variable at 3, fly runway.
So we're going to turn the left side to ground. We're going to look for the increase in the duct pressure, which we got. Looking good there. Start valve's going to be open. Oh, this is lagging really bad. Start valve is open. Love to see it. N2 is rising. And 25% N2. Introduce fuel. And those engine starts just sound so good. Nice amount of bass behind them.
Delta 4225 heavy.
Right on. So we're getting two
Radar service terminated. Frequency change to advisory.
two stable starts. Oh, wow, that was really laggy. Cool. So probe heats can come on. The lights are going to extinguish. We're looking good there. We don't need any anti-ice because it's pretty warm out here. 30 degrees Celsius is a lot. We're going to turn the packs back on. We're going to do it to engine bleed. Looks good here. The electronics are going to go on the generators here. That looks good. So now we can shut the APU off. And the EGT should drop down in a second here. Yep, it looks like it's slowly dropping, so that looks good to me. Double check up here. Everything looks fine, which it does. And we're going to go to the autopilot panel here, turn on our flight directors. We're going to go flaps 5. And I don't know if I vocalized it or not, but I saw the brake pressure go green earlier when I looked. So flaps 5 is what we're looking for. Go to system here. We'll do a flight control check. And this is the best view to do it in because you can actually see everything. So full right, full left, elevator up, elevator forward, cool, and rudder side to side. What do you know? Flight controls are free and correct. So we'll go back to the engine page and we'll put the engine here. And we are flaps 5. And the one thing I am going to do is this stagnant traffic that I have to turn off every single time I play this game. Let's see here. Is it under graphic? It's got to be under graphics. Dynamic setting? No. Global rendering. Airport. Where is it? Air traffic. Parked aircraft. No. We want that off. Parked aircraft variety. Oh, well, you know. But we want the parked aircraft off. Alright, cool. So that looks good to me. And now we're finally ready to taxi. Alright. And what was the information again? Whiskey? Oh, okay. Actually, let's double check if that's current or not.
Departing runway 12 left. Runway 12 right. Runway 17.
So it took me a while to push.
Notices to air mission taxiway Alpha between B and the season closed. Taxiways Romeo 789-10 and are closed. All aircraft see when ready to put back for taxi. Caution. First near Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. Brief and hold short instructions and decide altitude. All aircraft ponder and altitude encoding on. Advise on initial contact. You'll have information with you.
Okay, we do still have whiskey. Alright, cool. In Minneapolis departure, Sun Country 1057, Terminal 2 with whiskey, ready to taxi.
Sun Country 1057, runway 12 right, taxi via Delta Whiskey, cross 22 at Whiskey.
Runway 12 right, taxi via Delta Whiskey, cross 22 at Whiskey, Sun Country 1057. Neat. Alright, cool. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to quick brief our taxi. So we were given Delta, and then a left on Whiskey, all the way to 12 right, and we are crossing runway 22 at Whiskey. Alright, nice. So let's go up here. We can turn our taxi light on. We're ready to go. Brakes are off, and let's get her rolling for the first time in a while, shall we? You can barely even see the tower. It's a lot of smoke to be in the area. Give ourselves a little better of a push than that. And these are the two wing views that I managed to save before the stream start. Look at that. So we're passing Tango. Get just about a 20 knot taxi speed going here. Alright, Whiskey is coming up on the next intersection, so we're going to take a left. Start slowing down a little bit so we don't, you know, whip any turns. Alright, and even though we can't really see much, we're always going to clear right, clear left, and we are cleared to cross. So let's get this to strobes. Landing lights can come on, and we'll book it across the runway. Not super fast, but you know, with a little delay. Even though they don't really use runway 22, I always speed it up crossing.
Is offline. Radar service is terminated. Frequency change to advisory is approved. Have a good trip.
Yeah, you know that smoke is thick when you can't see the other side of the airport. That's a good day. Not a good day, but you know what I mean. And we're just kind of cruising down Whiskey here. Since I know where I'm going, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the Wellstone 7 departure. Double check I'm on the line here. Yes, I am. Good. Okay, there it is. Alright, so we want to be at 3,500 or above when we are. How many DME is that? 7 DME from, which shouldn't be an issue at all. 3,500, 7 miles out. That's huge. Alright, auto throttles are going to come on. And we'll wait until we're in the air.
At 3, turn left heading 090, runway 12 right, clear to takeoff.
12 right, clear for takeoff. Who's that for?
Sorry about that. Sun Country 1057.
There it is.
Variable at 3. Turn correction, fly runway heading, runway 12 right, clear for takeoff.
Fly runway heading, runway 12 right, clear for takeoff, Sun Country 1057. I was about to say, is there someone in front of me that I'm not seeing in the sim? Like, do I have more settings I gotta play with? No, I never turned the taxi lights off or anything. That's fine. We'll turn the wing lights on just to keep it in practice, even though we're not really worried about icing currently. Alright, so we're looking left, we're looking right, we're clear on both sides as far as we can see anyway. Don't want to swing that back and forth. We'll take up a good little chunk of runway here. Now let's get those engines up to 40%.
Up at 1242 Minneapolis approach. Good afternoon. expect ILS runway 12 right or 12 left. You're at,
Alright, 40%, engine stabilized, and toga. We're going to stay off the brakes.
Airspeed's alive.
Airspeed is alive indeed. Slide back.
Taking off.
Cross check.
Roger, expect ILS runway 12 left.
Okay, we're looking good on the speed here. V1, hand off the throttle, rotate.
V2. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. We'll give it 20 knot, 20, what do you call it? 20 degrees of nose up pressure to start off with.
Radar contact
1,800 Sun Country to 57. I can't speak. Alright, climb and maintain 17,000, left turn, direct S9, Sun Country 1057. Alright, so 17,000 is good. Oh, we're turning when we don't want to be. We're going to bring S9 up here and execute, and we will turn on LNAV. And we'll bring the nose down as we start to speed up. Flaps 1. Yeah, it's been a little while, so I'm slow to the draw, but we're looking good. Don't want to go any more than 30 degrees on the turn. Want to speed up a little more. So we'll run with VNAV now. And 210 we can go flaps up, that's fine. Alright, and now that we're lined up with the flight director, we'll go ahead and throw the autopilot on. And we'll kind of clean up a little bit here, so... Climbing through 5,000 feet, we were cleared to 17,000, which is good. Everything up top looks good so far. Look to see it. Gear lever can go to the off position. Flaps are up. I never turned the auto brake to RTO. That's kind of a big mistake. That's something I'll watch out for in the future. Definitely something to watch out for in the future. Yeah, we'll get ATC or 122.8 on standby, because once we leave Minneapolis approach, no one else is online for at least a while. And since we're going Wellstone 7 departure, we're going to be avoiding Chicago's airspace, which they are online, but we're not going to touch them, so... Okay, 10,000 feet. Notify flight attendants. And then clean up the landing lights, and the taxi light looks good here. And there's no moisture up here, so I'm just gonna turn the wing lights off now. We're good.
Minneapolis.
Total air temp is still positive 22 Celsius. That's warm.
Ready to clear mission start. United 576 Minneapolis. Departure is supposed to start into the alley at your discretion. Advise and ready to taxi. Expect 12 right. Alright, this is 1 right. We'll push our session. We're under the hot stove. Delta 442, descend and maintain south. Sun Country 1057, center is offline. Radar service is terminated. Frequency change to advisory is approved. Have a good trip.
Over to advisory, Sun Country 1057. Have a great day. Nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear us to our cruise altitude now. Million scrolls later. There we go. And then double check for traffic, make sure that that's not going to be a huge deal, which it's not. Definitely no one is conflicting with us, so that's good to see. And checking all the parameters, the engines look good, our flight path looks good, climb rate, everything, beautiful. Cool. Alright, now we're just climbing up to our cruise altitude and admiring the view of all the smoke that we got going on here. It's pretty rough. Forgot to go to Unicom. But you know what's crazy is, well, what's funny actually is, the game I think is interpreting all the smoke as low-level fog, and so you can see visibility is decreased, you know, in like patches here, low level. But I do think that in real life the smoke is extending quite a bit up in the altitudes. Minor differences, but hard for a game like this to incorporate such a thing. And you know what I should do is a heading sync. That could be important. There we go. And yeah, it's looking more to the left there. You know what I never did was set the altimeter. Yikes. Oops. A friend of mine got an interview. That's pretty good. Congrats to him for that. Interviews these days are even hard to come by in aviation. It's a little bit of kind of a scary thought, being a flight instructor that's approaching hours. I am about like 7:25 on hours, give or take. I have a couple of flights to still put in my logbook, but I'm getting close to my 1,000, and people are having troubles. I do have a potential job lined up. I'm just in line for an interview, and doesn't require airline minimums, and I'm excited for it, but I still got to sit here and wait. But other than that, I haven't had enough hours for any of the other opportunities. They want quite a bit of experience. Alright, so now that we actually have the correct altimeter setting, we're at flight level 210, just about, almost. And right there. And just for giggles, I'll go ahead and check all of the top stuff here, make sure everything is exactly how it should be. No lights, no alarms. We're looking pretty good. We're at 21,000 feet and we're still positive 11 on total air temp. That is something. Okay. So we do. So from Tango Victor Charlie VOR to Wozy, the last two waypoints in our flight plan, we are running through Toronto's airspace a little bit. So at the very minimum, we can get kind of a start on a descent clearance. A little bit more ATC, assuming they stay online. Let's see here. So like Toronto, it's not really wanting to load for me. There we go. And I've been online for an hour and a half. So maybe they'll stay on, maybe they won't. Alright, and while we're in the climb and looking at things, so taking a peek at all the smoke in the area, seeing how bad it really is, which can confirm in my area it's pretty bad. We got Minneapolis, which was 1.5 miles, which what we heard on the ATIS. 1.75 miles for Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which is, yeah, we're probably past that now, but close to where we are. Green Bay is 3/4 of a mile, so it is very thick in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Saginaw, Michigan is also 3/4 of a mile. Detroit, 3/4. It's very thick over Michigan. So if you're in Michigan, stay inside. That is very unhealthy. And then Buffalo, where we're going, is 2 miles right now. I mean, yeah, it's pretty consistent. Dunkirk, which is like southwest of Buffalo, is 2 miles of visibility as well. 1 mile in Erie, Pennsylvania. Rochester, New York, which is our alternate, is 2.5, so a little bit of an increase from Buffalo. But Niagara Falls is 3 miles. So yeah, it's just bad everywhere. So bad that fields, if I could speak, are going IFR just for smoke. Cleveland is 0.5 mile. Oh, brother. So, everything below us that we're seeing, we probably wouldn't actually be able to see in real life. It would probably be just a big old, like, a white pit. No ground contact, no nothing. We would just be, like, straight up IMC from up here. Now, up at this altitude, we might be, like, on top of the smoke. I don't know how high it goes, like I said. But you definitely wouldn't be able to see any of the ground. That would be all gone. Okay, our top of climb. Looks like we're finally going to reach it. Like, a little bit before Green Bay over there. So our flaps are all up, yep. Auto brakes are all off, gear levers in the off position. Okay. Making sure I'm not missing anything because it has been a while and I've already, you know, I forgot to set my altimeter. That's a huge thing, and I do that every day in real life, so shows you just how important proficiency is. And despite all of the smoke probably drying out a lot of the air across the U.S., we are getting some storm development in the northeast. It's going pretty good, and I think that might be assisting in clearing the smoke out too, like pushing it out of the way a little bit. Yeah. But where the smoke is, it's really bad. Duluth is 3/4 of a mile. Very, very unhealthy. Canada is burning away. Parts of Canada, anyway. Alright, slowly getting up to our cruise altitude of 37,000 feet. Slowly but surely. that whole takeoff situation was funny. When I heard him clear a Delta aircraft for takeoff on 1-2 right ahead of me, I thought that there was a plane ahead of me that I wasn't seeing in the sim, but it turns out he just was talking to the wrong plane. Oof. Definitely scared me for a second. I thought I was taxiing into someone without being able to see it. But scare and crisis averted, no one was there. Now I'll just clear my scratch pad and save the battery for our arrival into Buffalo. So yeah, flight instructing, picking up, being a line tech, also picking up a lot of late nights for cargo. And yeah, I got myself a new apartment, and the lady friend is moving in with me in 2 weeks. She will be here, and I'm quite excited about it. It's nice to, you know, feel like an adult again, you know, being in my own space and not relying on others for, you know, a place to live. Kind of tough being in college and working, and then you get stuck with these student loans, and fortunately I was able to finally refinance. You know, I tried all this like a little over a year ago, and they said, oh, we don't have any offers for you, blah blah blah, but you know, this year they finally had an offer for me, and I was able to refinance and, you know, lower monthly payments and stuff, and I was able to use the money that now I'm saving on a monthly basis to get my own place and, you know, be a little more independent. That's huge to me, and I'm very excited for it. Very excited indeed. And the place is really nice too. I mean, it looks bigger than it might actually be because of this whole, you know, cutout we got going on here, but honestly I love it. If it feels bigger, no problem at all. Everything is brand new too. They like remodeled this entire place, from the floors to the bathroom sink to the cupboards. Like everything was totally replaced, and this is pretty brand new. I love it, and I intend on taking good care of it. I might even adjust this a little bit. I haven't actually seen what angle this sits at. There we go. I feel like that's a little more centered. Yeah, I like it. I'm with it. I don't like how high our N1% is going though. 101% in the climb, that's a lot. Whatever, we're almost at our cruise. I guess what's the worst that can happen besides a total catastrophic engine failure? Alright, less than 2,000 feet to go and we'll be in cruise. Our first on-stream cruise in a couple of months. Just about getting there. 1,000 to go. I beat you to it. Haha. Get wrecked. Hmm. 500 feet to go. Well, once we get into cruise, it does look like we have some smooth conditions. I will confirm with some pyreps along the way. No turbulence, and that's at 4,000 feet. That doesn't really help me much. Where is it? Doesn't really help me either. A lot of smoke reports, yep. There's a pyrep that literally says in the soup. Interesting. I don't have any... So I'm assuming the lack of pyreps is indicative of smooth conditions. Except he had a Mooney. Oh, it's 6,000 feet. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're due for a nice smooth ride, so we're going to be turning those seatbelt signs off and enjoying our ride. Alrighty, cool. So now we are at a cruise altitude of 37,000 feet. The seatbelt signs are coming off. Gonna double check everything else. We're looking good here. We're on a little cruise check, 37,000. The heading, we'll leave it where it is for now, but after this left turn, we'll have to sink it, and then we'll be on that course for a little while. And then, yeah, cruise looks good. Sweet. All right, well, we're gonna sit back, relax. We're gonna enjoy the view of all the smoke that the sim is doing an okay job at actually projecting. There's definitely not visible gaps in real life, but it actually does good for what the sim can do. I am actually thoroughly impressed. Everything is going well so far. Just a couple of laggy spots when we were doing our pushback and start, but nothing out of the ordinary. I think PC's still performing pretty well, and yeah. Enjoy yourself. I will be around. I'll be watching, listening, and yeah. I'll be around. Alright, so we are coming up on top of descent in a little over 60 miles, probably about 70 miles right there. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and start planning for our arrival here. So there are no stars into Buffalo, so we're just going to be, you know, shooting straight for the approach here. And we are looking for approach. There we go. We're doing the ILS 23. Now, what we're expecting here is we're crossing over Wozy, which is pretty much right on top of the airport, and then we're going to be essentially back coursing the ILS here to Trava, and then we're going to do our procedure turn and then turn to the approach here. We got to be at 4,000 feet, I believe it is. So we're just going to start setting up for this approach while we have a chance. So the ILS frequency is 111.3, so let's go down here and we'll set both nav1 and nav2 to 1113. Alright, so you see nav1 and nav2 here, 1113, sweet. Approach course is going to be 235, there we go. So both of these course indicators here are going to be 235. One on the right side as well. So we got both of them in here, 235, 235, sweet. Next step we're looking at the outer marker. So basically what this saying is at the outer marker here we should be at about 2187. We have to maintain 2,300 until our glide slope intercept here, and then we can go down as long as we got the, you know, the glide slope. But if we are doing a localizer step down, then we would wait until the outer marker and then descend and hang out at our altitude for the localizer only. But we're doing the ILS, so we'll come back up here real quick if it'll allow me to do so. It's kind of glitchy. So the decision altitude is 926, so let's go ahead and put that in our barrel minimums here. Barrel minimums, it's already set, so now we're just looking for 926. Dial turns really weird in this sim. Okay, 926, there we go. So we got 926, airport elevation is 727, which we already identified. So the MSA, the minimum safe altitude around the outer marker here, clump, is 2,800 if we're coming from the north side, 3,900 if we're coming from the south side. We will be coming from the north side here. I don't have anything to show you with, but we're coming from the kind of the northwest over here, so we're going to be on that 2,800 side, but we need to be at 4,000 or above for Trava. So if we descend down to 4,000, we'll be plenty safe, and then we'll do the procedure turn at 4,000 and then descend down to 2,300 and then intercept the ILS from there. So one thing I do want to do is I actually want to begin to descent a little bit early so the plane doesn't overspeed on us, and I like to do that about 40 miles out. And since we crossed that, we will begin our descent now. So down to all the way down to 4,000, because again we don't have an arrival, so we don't really have step down altitudes to worry about. On our FMC here we have Wozy direct to Trava, and the Trava does say, you know, a procedure hold right here, so it's got the procedure turn already loaded in there for us, so that's good. Yep, back on our legs page. And lastly, what do we got here? Oh yeah, we can go to our descent page and we'll descend now, execute, and let's have our passengers put their seatbelts back on so they can be strapped in during descent. A little quick heading sync, and then so yeah, like I said, DME is required, and we have GPS, which is a viable substitute. ADF required for localizer only, which it's not going to be a localizer only, so we don't have to worry about that. like I said before, 4,000, going to be 4,000 throughout the procedure turn, and then after we cross Trava down to 2,300, then we'll intercept the ILS at 2,300, and our minimums are 926. Visibility required is 1,800 feet or a half a mile, and Buffalo is currently reporting 2, as far as I know. Yeah, 2.5 miles, so it's increased by a half mile, which is good. So increased by a half mile here, and yeah, it's pilot perceived anyway, but you know, you never really want to push the boundaries with that one. So good, we're in a descent, and then lastly, we'll get our, what do you call it, the VREF speed loaded. So first things first is actually we'll go to the calculator here, performance tool, landing and route, there we go. We're landing runway 23, and it's got all that info for us, which is good. We'll import the aircraft details in its current state. Import weather. We'll do a normal flaps 30 landing, altimeter's 2996. Cool, so we'll calculate that. Awesome. VREF is looking 154. Required landing distance is 6242, and the available distance is 8110, which is good. So we have plenty of space there. So since we're doing a flaps 30 takeoff, so we'll put that in our FMC here, 30, and our VREF speed is going to be 154. Like so, and then we should see that on our screen right over here, which we do. Ref is 30, flaps 30 is 154. Sweet. All right. And then at this point, we should be monitoring. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't get. I did not get any sort of alert to talk to Toronto Center or anything, so am I good not to, or let's just check in. 125775. Just to make sure we're not intruding on anything here. 775. I didn't realize I crossed that border just yet. That was very quiet. Toronto Center, good afternoon. Sun Country 1057 descending through flight level 333.
Sun Country 1057, Toronto Center, clock right now.
He wants an ident, so we'll just hit that right there. And that should have done it.
Sun Country 1057, thanks. You are identified flight level 330. Descend 10,000 Buffalo altimeter 2996.
2996, descend and maintain 10,000, Sun Country 1057. Alright, so he wants us at 10,000, so we'll start there. We'll get the 2996 ready to go for the altimeter on standby. Look at that, 2996, cool. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't give me a little ping to contact him.
Join the runway 24 left localized, reduce your speed to 2109.
And I'm just going to go straight to Buffalo CTAF, which is 120.5. That's going to be on standby.
That is approved. Report back.
because we'll be close enough to Buffalo where tuning to 122A won't really be efficient.
Delta 4225, turn left heading 330, descend 3000.
Left 330, descend 3000, Delta 4225.
This flight honestly felt incredibly fast. I mean, we only have a 65 knot tailwind, which, I mean, it's like relatively standard, but it feels like it was faster than that. But maybe my time perception is just a little messed up.
Delta 4225, turn left heading 270, cleared ILS people.
Left 270, cleared ILS, Delta 42, turn left heavy left.
Super 9 Yankee, 170. 170. Super 9 Yankee, following the Airbus cleared ILS.
This message, man. Just on the north side of Lake Erie here. Not going to really be able to see Toronto much because of the clouds and the smoke anyway.
Delta 4225, looks like this is a localized return left heading 210 reinstance.
210 range effect, Delta 4225 heavy.
Roger, over there.
Descent's going very nice.
Super 9 Yankee, go to your final approach, please.
The ground speed's 477 still, that's pretty good.
Speed correction Delta 4225, power now 117.
117, thanks very much, Delta 4225.
Guys, 261 over Davos, contact 1 and power 119.4. 1 Tower, 118 decimal 7.
118 decimal 7. Thanks for the keep it going.
Sun Country 1057, Cleveland Center closed. Surveillance has been terminated. Change officer today.
Right over to advisory, Sun Country 1057. Have a great day. Sweet. So we got our handoff. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is descend myself down to 4,000 as initially planned. That way we can hit 4,000 by Wozy. We'll back course the ILS at 4,000 and then we'll do a procedure turn, and yeah, no need to run into any step down issues. We're coming up on 18,000 right now. We're starting to speed up. Our FMC is telling us that drag is required, so we are going to throw up a little bit of speed brake action. The plane is having trouble slowing down. I kind of saw it climbing earlier and didn't quite vocalize it, but I noticed and was wondering if and when that was going to pop up. And sure enough, here we are. Cool, 18,000, flight level 180. So now we are in out of the flight levels. Altimeter is 29906, and we can notify the flight attendants of final descent. Sweet. And the activity banner's coming off, and we are turning the camera back on. What's going on? Anyway. So we're descending through 17,000. We're going down to 4,000. We really don't need to be at 4,000 by Wozy. That's what the green arc right here is kind of showing us, but the FMC is saying we're crossing Wozy at 6589 and we'll be at 4,000 by travel. Okay, so I forgot to switch to the Buffalo CTAF, and that dude's mic was insanely loud. That was a little bit ear piercing, just a little. That's alright, we are back into some quiet territory here, so no traffic on in the Buffalo area. So we don't have to worry about anything there. We're setting up for the ILS 23. Visibility at the airport is 2.5 miles last I checked. We'll double check one more time, verify that tracks. Yes, it does, as of 28 minutes ago. Yeah. The altimeter is good. It's saying there's a broken layer of clouds at 2,600 and an overcast at 20,000. That's an interesting gap there. Something interesting I saw earlier on the Niagara Falls METAR is they actually put in the remarks section wildfire smoke from Canada, which isn't usually in there. It'll say maybe like smoke or something, but it actually typed out like wildfire smoke Canada in the METAR. That was interesting. Yeah, it looks like the smoke is gonna stay bad for a while. FMC speed, yep, LNAV, VNAV path, we're looking good here. 10,000 feet is coming very shortly. I still have speed brakes in. I'm surprised it's Should be maintaining 282 knots, but it's hanging out about 260 something, which is I would think it would try to maintain the speed that's bugged, but that's just me. Oh well. No harm, no foul. We're not overspeeding, we're not stalling, so we just roll with that one. At this point in the flight, nothing to fight with. Oh, there we go. Sped back up. Okay. Alright, and we're plus 20 Celsius on the total air temperature, so we don't need any anti-ice anything. We are running into visible moisture, but it's plenty warm to where it won't cause icing issues. Okay, so we're coming up on 10,000. The plane is pitching up so it can slow down, so let's turn the landing light on. We are clearing ourselves for landing since ATC is not online and there's no traffic. Looking very good on fuel. We have 7.5 left. Our reserves were 4.9. So if we had to go miss for whatever reason, we could probably reattempt this landing a solid like 9 times before we hit our reserve fuel and have to go to Rochester. But the good news is it shows that we have plenty of visibility to be able to continue with the approach. So no worries on that end. And I think I'm going to take the speed brakes out now because it's descending at 500 feet per minute and it should be maintaining 240 knots. And it fell below 230. So we'll take speed brakes out just to keep speed a little more normalized. I'm going to double check my landing lights and everything, make sure that we're all good on that end. Yep. Sweet. Exactly where I expect it to be. Okay, close enough where we can reduce the range. And it shows the left turn here at Wozy, back coursing the ILS, essentially. We're really just doing GPS direct from Wozy to Trava, but Wozy's just about on top of the runway, it looks like, over there, so we're essentially back coursing the ILS. Since we have GPS, we don't really need to worry about actual back coursing and reverse sensing and all that crazy stuff. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because Wozy was on our flight plan, and since ATC's not online, I like to continue it all the way through the flight plan, all the way to Wozy, because that's what was planned. And then it gives us a nice, easy entry into the procedure by going, you know, essentially back coursing the ILS, going to Trava and doing the procedure turn, rather than trying to vector myself and worry about MSAs and stuff like that. Like, vectoring yourself is not the most ideal thing, especially if you were to be in IMC. There we go, so our left turn is coming up really shortly here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a speed intervention, and I am going to do 210 knots now because in a hold you can't be any higher than 210 up to 6,000, and we'll be at 4. So 210 knots will slow down to. I reintroduced the speed brakes. And the airspeed is decreasing, which is a good sign. And we'll match our heading to direct to Trava here. Alright, and the smoke is not like uber thick. I can see the ground through all that haze. And this should be a parallel entry, meaning once we cross Trava, we should continue our course here and then make the left turn to re-intercept in the pattern here. But it could be a teardrop. It depends on what the computer wants to do. There's the outer marker, which I'm pretty sure it's in op in real life, but what do I know? What entry are we doing here? That's the question. I think we can take the speed brakes out now. We're at 210. We're not really descending anymore. What's that noise? Very interesting noise. And I suppose we should start making calls now. Buffalo traffic, Sun Country 1057 is crossing over Trava, making a procedure turn inbound for the ILS 23 Buffalo. Ah, it has us doing a teardrop. Okay. That's fine. I'm not getting any weird indications. Oh, you know what it is the... Forgot to turn the ISOL valve to auto. That's a mistake. Yep. It has been a little bit. It'd probably be better if I had an actual 737 checklist, but I don't, so... whatever. I can promise you in real life that you cannot see this clearly in this area. Alright, and we'll go ahead and turn the heading bug for runway 23, because we'll be making that turn. Actually, the course is 235, so we'll set that as our heading bug, and then we'll make the wind correction as necessary. Reset MCP altitude, yep. Okay. So we set 2,300 because that's what we want to descend to after Travo. Still no traffic at the airport. Alright, I'm going to reduce the speed to 180 knots. And I am going to start with flaps 5. Just ahead of the game so the plane doesn't have too many issues slowing down. Excuse me. I'm breathing in that smoke yesterday. I verified that the speed brakes are stowed. Yes, they are. We do have a glide slope coming in, so we're just going to go to Trava, remove that procedure hold because I don't want it to keep us in the hold. We're going down to 2,300. And then 2 miles before Clump, we'll drop the gear. Oh yeah, that smoke is thick over here. Definitely getting that 2.5 miles of biz now. Okay, probably drop the gear right here. That'll be good. arm approach mode and get command B on. Oh, no. Interesting. So clearly approach mode is on because VOR localizer and glide slope. However, the light's not illuminated here. That's really strange. Okay. Well, as long as it follows the ILS, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Oh yeah, we got 3 greens here, 3 greens up top. Cool. Let's go ahead and arm the speed brake, and auto brake can go. Now we'll do auto brake 3. Buffalo traffic, Sun Country 1057, 5 mile final, ILS 23, Buffalo. Right on. Okay, flaps 25, and then in the second here will be flaps 30. And then once we're flaps 30, I'll go ahead and remove the auto throttle.
1,000.
Yep, I see that. Oops. Alright, so we're looking 926. I feel like this is a little less than 2.5 miles of visibility, but it's at least a mile and a half, so I'm not too worried about it.
500.
I should see the runway by minimums, which I do actually have the runway in sight. Barely, but it's in sight.
400.
Alright, we're taking this by hand.
300. Approaching minimums.
Get back low.
2 minimums.
Alright, continue. Get a little back on the center line there. That
100.
was poor center line control on my part.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Ooh, that was almost a slammer, but it wasn't. We saved it. And now we're floating for some reason. There we go. That was bad. Really? There we go. My reversers were not deploying. That was something. My throttle quadrant's getting a little sticky. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Alright, 60 knots, reversers are coming out. We'll take over manual braking. And then we'll exit the runway. While we're at it, let's start the APU. Nope. Now that we're off the runway, we'll clean up the flaps. Buffalo traffic, Sun Country 1057 is off of runway 23, taking Alpha Kilo to gate 11, Buffalo. And we are going to gate 11 today. Alright, landing lights are coming off. We can turn the yaw damper off. We'll go to APU gen. Because once it's available, we'll be switching. Probe heats can come off. Packs are all good for now. We'll switch that in a second. Oh yeah, strobes can come off. Trying to do better on controlling. Oh yeah, we can stow the speed brakes. Alright, so the flaps are up. Speed brakes are stowed. After landing looks good. It is smoky. And gate 11 is going to be the second last gate over there. And we'll go ahead and we'll hit the APU gen right before we shut the engines down. Actually, is that gate 9? You know what? It's missing a jet bridge over here. This is gate 11. Alright. It's good to know. Oop, I kind of hit the brakes a little hard there, didn't mean to. Turned a little extra where I didn't need to. Right, there we go. That should be about where we want to be. We'll have to see how I did. Okay. Parking brake's coming on. We're going to turn on the APU gen. Then we're going to shut down the engines. And seatbelt signs can come off. And then the engines are below 20% N1, so the beacon can come off. Alright, fuel pumps can all come off except for left forward since we got the APU running. Looks good. Hydraulic pumps can come off. APU bleed will come on, engine bleeds off. ISOL valve open. We'll leave the packs on to keep the plane comfortable for passengers as they exit. Oh, taxi light can come off as well. And we are just about in a turnaround state. Alright, let's go out here to our menu. We'll go to, oops, ground operations. There we go. We'll set the chocks. And then we'll request the jetway. And see if the door automatically opens. I don't think it will. No. So I'll go ahead and open that. There we go. Sweet. Alright, well, there we go. So that was pretty fun. We saw the runway a couple 100 feet before minimums. Probably about like 200 feet before minimums, the runway started coming into view. The weird thing is I didn't see any lights. There were no lights whatsoever, and I mean, those really should have been on. Oh, look at this. I'm trying to see my park job here, and it won't let me. Okay, let's see. We were almost centered, so the nose wheel's on the line, but we're a little bit off on the right side here. Oh well. Alright, but there you have it. That was a pretty decent flight, not too bad for my first time hopping back on in a couple of months. Like, I haven't even really flown without streaming because things have been so crazy lately, but we had a couple of mistakes there. Forgot to set our altimeter. Just we're kind of slow to the draw on some things like checklist items and whatnot. You know, frequency changes, stuff like that. But it's all minor. We got through it. Everything else was pretty solid. The landing was a little bit kind of I started to lose some speed before I pulled the engines to idle, I saw it dip below 150, and we wanted to be no less than 154 over the threshold. And because the speed was dropping off, I pulled to idle, and the plane started dropping a lot, as you heard the 30-20-10 thing. And then I tried to flare, and we saved a hard landing, but then we started floating a little bit, so I kind of had to, you know, really set it down. And then my throttles were a little bit sticky, and I thought I was in reverse, but I was not. It just was hard to get further back, so definitely got some work to do to get back into the flow. But other than that, procedures were followed nicely. We got a little bit of ATC action for Minneapolis and Toronto. Shout out to those guys. And shout out to Captain Canada. It is his birthday today, so happy birthday, Canada. It was nice meeting you at Flight Sim Expo. That was a really cool ordeal. That's right, I went to Flight Sim Expo. It was a good time. And yeah, so happy birthday, man. And other than that, that is going to conclude today's stream. Thanks to anyone who might have stopped in to say hi or just to see what was going on my channel. I always appreciate it, even if you're dropping in briefly. Thanks to people who might be watching this video later. That's always much appreciated. I hope everyone has a great day wherever you are. Stay out of the smoke. It's not good to breathe in. It's very dangerous. You don't want to have lung issues down the road. We'll prevent that. So stay safe. Everyone take care of themselves. It feels really good to stream again. It feels really good to have my career move on, and it feels good to have my own place. That's a good one too. Yeah. Thank you very much. And until next time, which I don't know when it'll be, but hopefully soon. You guys take care of yourselves. All right. We'll see you.